Paul, let's now turn to Hong Kong, where we saw back in September protesters really taking to the streets to ensure free and democratic elections.
I mean, it was really astounding to see just so many people, I mean, young, old, it doesn't really matter, taking to the streets under the name of democracy, universal suffrage. But then it did turn violent at times.
That's right. The founders did have a peaceful, initiative first of all, but, it did turn to violent clashes at the end. And though after more than 2 months, it did come to, the protest did have cleaned up. It was said to have posed a real serious threat to the leadership in Beijing, a sight not seen since the Tiananmen Square protests in 1989. And so finally, let's take this final rundown of the so-called umbrella revolution.
On September 26th, hundreds of students poured out into the streets of Hong Kong demanding free elections. Britain handed Hong Kong back to China in 1997 in a political deal called One Country, Two Systems. This would guarantee Hong Kong more freedom than is afforded on mainland China, such as being allowed to elect their own leader in 2017. However, China backpedaled. Beijing said Hong Kong could hold the elections, but only if the Chinese government first handpicked all the candidates.
The Hong Kong society, in general, they will adopt an approach of civil disobedience, resisting the government till the government consider to restructure the constitutional reform in the coming days.
Police used pepper spray and tear gas on unarmed protesters. This is where the umbrellas came in, which demonstrators used to protect themselves, thereby the name Umbrella Revolution. Maggie Yang lived in Hong Kong for more than 40 years, and she says she hasn't seen anything like this before here in the city.
This is the biggest protest I have ever seen in Hong Kong for decades, because when we grew up in the 80s, we have nothing like this before. Although it caused some traffic jams and blockage, overall this protest is really peaceful.
The occupation of Hong Kong streets, however, came to an end after 2.5 months of protests, without the Chinese government acceding to any of the protesters' demands. It was the most serious challenge to the Chinese government since the 1989 pro-democracy protests in Beijing. And analysts say it showed that those in Hong Kong's post-colonial generation can actively take part in the political process and are willing to raise their voices against what they feel is unfair, even if they know it's going to be a long battle.
And that finally wraps up our look at the biggest international stories for now, for this year at least.
The big finale.
Right. Certainly, you've covered a lot of pressing topics and topics that were quite scary. And I understand that you are going to be bringing new life into the world next year.
Yay! Breaking news. Global breaking news.
My wife is 9 months pregnant, that's right. And we're expecting any day now, which is kind of very exciting, but also very terrifying as well. But my New Year's resolution for this year is to hopefully be the best father and husband as I can.
Oh, wow. I'm sure you'll do great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just the one that we can always trust with international news coverage, and of course, in 2015 as well. Right. Okay. So what about you, your resolution?
Well, that resolution is going to be part of the second half of the show. So
I don't
can't
get to hear about
it? Nope, you can't. You'll have to tune in. You'll have to run home and then tune into the second half of our program.
Okay, well, ask me for my New Year resolution.
I thought you didn't make or have one.
No, I just came up with one.
Oh, great.
Have a good balance, work out more. You know me, I'm too lazy. Well, yeah, thank you again, Paul, and congratulations on the baby.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year.
And it's definitely been a pleasure and honor giving you guys the updates every single day for this year, and I hope to give you many more for 2015.
Right, and hopefully the news will be much more uplifting and less chaos-based
hopefully
than we had this year.
All right,
thank you so
Happy
much,
New
Paul.
Year, Paul.